Want to achieve network marketing success? Then you're in the right company. Hello, and welcome to Leave Nothing to Chance, hosted by networking marketing giant John Solleder. Learn everything you need to know about the network marketing space from somebody who's actually done it. Join us every week for front row seats as we feature some of the finest and most successful personalities in network marketing. Leave nothing to chance. Join us now.
All right. Well, hey, here we are, the end of November, November 30th to be exact. And you know what we're doing now over these next 5 Tuesdays is a little bit of training, a little bit of teaching, a little bit of getting ready for 2022. And you know, as Keith Hooper joins me to help me out with this call on invitations and the art of the invite, what it brings me to mind is how important it is that we continue to build our businesses even throughout the holidays. So we want to give you some things that you can do as far as invitations. And hey, maybe some people will push you off till next year. That's fine. Well, no big deal. But the art of the invitation is what we're going to talk about today's call. So welcome to the call. Keith Hooper. How are you, Keith?
I'm good, John. And we're interested to be talking about this art because the best part about this art is it's a skill and everybody can learn it. And they can transfer it to others, the power of what we do here with network marketing.
Absolutely. And, you know, the art of the invite, I mean, that's where it all starts. I mean, you were invited into the business how many years ago, your first multi-level?
32, 33 years ago.
Do you remember what the person said or how they got you to take a look?
Yeah, I do, actually. I was at a train station, at an Amtrak station. And the guy was there, he was picking up his kids or something. And we started a little conversation and just seemed like a really nice guy. And he said, you know what? I spend a fortune looking for people with your skill sets. Would you have time to have a cup of coffee? And that's where it started.
Yeah. So it was an invite. Yeah, same with me. I was invited by a guy named Tommy Husted, who I knew from high school, from our high school wrestling days. And he had gone off to school in Pennsylvania, and I had gone off to school in Pennsylvania and came back to New Jersey. And we ran into each other after about, 5 years not seeing each other. And he told me about something he was doing and said, would I be interested? And if I spend, $32, I could start my own business. And I was about to graduate college, and that was his invitation, and sounded good. And, here we are now, 39 years later, still doing this and teaching it to people all over the world. So, let's talk about the invitation. And I've made some notes on this, Keith, and we might jump around a little bit. But, I'd like to start out with something.
John, I'm sorry, it's your show. But I'm going to interrupt you anyway. As you well know, I've known each other for 25 years. I hope everybody takes good notes, because this is a rare opportunity. Most of the time you're hearing John interview other people, and you want to take the notes here because this is the guy that's at the top of the skills of network marketing. The best thing about these network marketing skills is they transfer to all of your other businesses, whether you're in the real estate business, whether you're in a car business, if you own a gardening service. There's a lot of skills that you're going to learn, and John has mastered them all. And so often on these Leaving Nothing to Chance podcasts, you hear him asking questions and interviewing others. Today, it's a very, very unique opportunity, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today, John.
Well, thank you, Keith. And one of the things I've done over the years is I've used an invitation where I share an idea. And what does that mean? Well, if I know something about the person that I'm talking to, and most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you do, what they do for a living, or their kids, or them through whatever, maybe through something, through an activity maybe that your kids are involved with, and that they're an accountant, or they're a lawyer, or they're a doctor, or they're a truck driver, or they're a school teacher, or they're a whatever that they do for a living. And I came up with a thing called Share an Idea many, many years ago, where if I knew, for example, when you were a rancher, Keith, I would say to you, Keith, can I share an idea that's been of benefit to other ranchers? Well, what would you say to that?
Well, absolutely, John.
What is it, right? It's an open-ended question. I mean, a person's going to react to it saying, sure, tell me about it. What is it, right? And that share an idea concept has worked really, really well for me. And I plug that in. So if you know what the person does for a living in particular, it really helps, because you can say, hey, can I share an idea that's been beneficial to other lawyers? beneficial to other doctors, beneficial to other chiropractors, beneficial to other dentists, beneficial to other accountants, beneficial to other school teachers, right? Can I share an idea? And most people, fortunately, are not closed-minded to sharing an idea. They'll say exactly what Keith just said. Sure, tell me what it is, right? Gets the conversation going. Now, we'll talk about near the end of this how to transition the conversation, okay, and tools to use and medias to use and all that stuff. But you got to get the conversation going. You got to get the other person to start to play what I call that mental tennis game with you. If you can envision the sport of tennis, right? I say to Keith, can I share an idea? Keith says, yeah, sure. What is it? I say, well, the other ranchers like yourself have benefited by it. He says, okay, well, what is it? Okay, well, he's opened the door now for me to tell him. Okay. And, once again, we'll plug in the tools here as we go, but that share an idea concept worked very, very well for me. Another one is respect. Keith is well, you're not quite a bit older than me, but you're older than me. And Keith has a lot more business experience in the real world of business than I do. I've been in network marketing forever. I haven't been in that many traditional businesses along the way. Dabbled here and there, had some investments, but Keith's been in traditional business most of his life. So I have great respect for his business acumen. So when I call Keith and I say, Keith, I've gotten involved with something. And with all of your years of business, I would love for you to look at it. What did I just do? How do you feel when I say that to you?
Well, it makes me feel good, obviously. And that's what this business is all about, right?
So this is called the respect invitation, right? We all have people on our list that we know, whether it's the brother-in-law with more education than you, whether it's your sister with more experience in business than you, whether it's your next door neighbor who speaks 5 languages and you only speak 1, whatever it happens to be, you go with that respect idea. Okay. Hey, listen, you know what? I got involved with something and I'm looking for you to look at it and just kind of give me your opinion because I value your opinion. I've respected that person for who they are, what they know, what they've experienced in life, what they've experienced in business. And by doing that, okay, now they may come back, by the way, and not give you all the information or all the affirmation that you're looking for. They might tell you that you're crazy. But what you've done is, once again, you've started that mental tennis game of going back and forth where Keith says, well, John respects me enough that he's called me up, wants my opinion on this product or on this opportunity or on this business that I'm getting involved with. Okay, so that's kind of the respect invitation. The next one is what I call the point of difference. So if you're taking notes, so far you should have a share an idea as one, respect is number 2. Third one, point of difference. Okay. Not everybody wants to be in a business that everybody else is in. What makes your company or your product different than the guy down the street? So when I talk about point of difference, if I called Keith up and I said, Keith, or I contacted him other ways, and we'll talk about those other ways in a few minutes. But if I contacted Keith, however I contacted him, said, you have got to see what it is that I found. It is truly unique. It is truly different. It is truly not one of many. It's one of a kind. Okay. Now, if you've got that type of product, or you've got that type of an opportunity, or you've got that type of compensation model that you think is different than everybody else, okay, that's your point of difference invitation, where I would call Keith up and the particular product that I market has almost 47 years of evidence-based science. Well, I'm not going to tell Keith about the executives in my company. What for? I'm not going to tell him about the pay plan. What for? What I'm going to tell Keith about is what makes my brand different than the guy down the street's brand. And Keith, you want to comment on that a little bit?
Well, yeah, John, because that is the point that we're talking about, is that skill set of the invitation of the points of difference. What's important to the person that you're talking to. If whatever the strength of your company you're going to have hopefully all 3. You're going to have a great product. You're going to have a fair and equitable compensation plan, and you're going to have good or great management. And what everybody you're talking to is going to be one of those 3 is going to be important to them. So you can tailor your invitation about whichever one of those it is. So if you're talking to somebody and they're real business minded, they may want to know about the company ownership. And they may want to know about the compensation plan or how the pay works before you get into the product. But you may also have, which I believe is the majority of the people, is what is this product that you're marketing? What makes it unique? Why can't I get it someplace else? And how are we gonna move this? And that invitation is tailored to all three, John. And that's the important part. I hope everybody's paying attention to this podcast today that John's doing for you. This will make or break your business. This invitation. This is the foundation of your business, is that art of the invitation, or what is better, it's a skill because it's transferable, John.
So here's the fourth invitation. Okay. The have you found what you're looking for invitation, I call this. All of us have had conversations with people, perhaps in the last year and a half while the pandemic has been going on, where somebody says, boy, I wish I could find a product that does this, or a product that does that. Or, hey, if you're in the weight loss area, network marketing, which a lot of you are that listen to the show, boy, you have a lot of people that have gained that, supposed COVID-15, which is probably more like COVID-30 by now. And with Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that coming up, who knows what it'll be. And they say, yeah, boy, I'd like to find a way to shed those, 15 that I gained being at home. Okay, fine. Now, all of a sudden, you're in the weight loss business. Or maybe somebody says, oh, wow, I just have no energy because I'm home all the time and I don't have the discipline that I used to go to the gym. And boy, if I had more energy. Well, a lot of us sell energy products. Okay. Somebody says, hey, I wish I could find something for the immune system. Well, some of us sell products for the immune system. Okay. Somebody says, hey, I've got this problem or that problem. I want to get stronger. I'm at the gym. I'm not getting stronger. I'm stuck. Well, some of you sell products that are performance related. Okay. You can pick whatever category that your company, really features and does well. The point is to go back to those people who have stated to you something to the effect of, I'm frustrated with this or that in my life. Now, the one common thing, no matter what product you sell, no matter what product category you sell, most people have recognized in these last 18 months or so, I better have a plan B financially. I better start to have some other income coming into the household besides what I got from my job, or maybe they had unemployment for a while, or maybe they had whatever. Okay. Everybody is in that circumstance. So when you use that, have you found what you're looking for? 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you, nah, I still haven't found that product. I still haven't found that plan B. I'm still looking. I'm open to stuff. I'm kind of looking. What do you got? That's going to be their natural reaction, right? Keith, if I called you up and said, hey, I found a product that helped me lose 15 pounds during the pandemic, what would your response be?
Send me some.
Exactly.
Where do I get it? That's the point, John. Look, everybody's looking for something. Our invitation is simply to find out what are they looking for, and then show them how what we're doing with who we're doing it with will help them get what they're looking for. Use that invitation.
Exactly. And then, you can even go one step further on that. On the financial end, even if they say, well, I really haven't been looking for, anything for a while. Well, let me tell you something. They may say that, but they don't mean that. Because anybody who's not shook up with this economy, whether you live here in the States or whether you live in Canada or you're listening over in Europe or in Mexico, if you're listening to what Keith and I are talking about here, people are concerned. Your neighbors, your friends, the people you're going to see over the holiday season, they're really concerned about what 2022 is going to look like. And they should be. Have they found what they're looking for? Is that plan B, okay, to back up whatever plan A is, okay? Chances are they haven't found it. Because if they did, by the way, they'd probably be contacting you with an invitation to take a look at whatever it is that they found as that plan B. Right, Keith?
Well, absolutely. I'm sometimes tickled by people that says, oh, well, I'm not in it for the money. Well, let me give you my address and you can send it to me, because I am. I'm in it to help people, and I'm in it for the money, and I'm in it to help other people make money. And the people that tell you they're not interested in money are the people that are calling you up trying to borrow it. So let's get a better way. Let's get them hooked in to what we're doing here in network marketing, an opportunity whose time has really come with everything we're dealing with today, with all the things that we can do, and what you're doing here with the podcast, where people are able to learn. What I refer to, John, is, everybody has that that non-performing asset. And that's that contact capital that they haven't figured out how to contact and share with what they're doing. And that's why they want to stay here for what you're doing here with the rest of the show today.
Exactly. Well, the next one that we'll talk about is what I call the locking arms principle. Now, you have friends, like I have friends, that have been in network marketing, and maybe they didn't succeed to the level that they wanted to succeed. Or maybe they even did, and maybe their company, for whatever reason, had an issue, and maybe their company's not around anymore, or maybe their opportunity's not around anymore, or they got busy with something else in their life, and they stopped working the business, and they had a little downline, and it kind of withered away. Okay, it happens. That's network marketing. That's life, right? That's every business for the most part. If you don't pay attention to it, it will go away. So when I talk about locking arms, my locking arms one is where, and a perfect example, I'm talking to a friend of mine, his name's Larry. And Larry's been in network marketing before. And I said to Larry the other day, I said, listen, if you come in and you want to work with what it is that I'm doing, and he's very familiar with our product, he's used our product, he likes our product, okay, he's had good results with it. But if you want to get serious about this next year, okay, you want to lock arms with me for the first couple of months of 2022, I'll lock arms with you. I'll give you my full, undivided attention, okay, on the people that you bring, the people that we know mutually, by the way, okay? Because most of the time, if you're talking to another networker, you know some of the same people. Hey, what about Bob? What about Mary? What about Sue? What about Pete? What are they up to? Have you talked to them lately? Maybe they live in the same community. Maybe they were in the same company before, okay? Whatever it happens to be, okay? You tell me you're going to lock arms. And of course, you keep your word, by the way. You bring that person in as long as they salute your proverbial flag. Hey, we're going to do a call today at 7 and another call tomorrow at 2. Get some guys, let's get going here. Okay, let's get your business moving. Let me help you. I can only help you if you help yourself, right? That's the lock arms invitation. Okay, and I've used that very effectively through the years to get people who've been in the industry, whether they've been really successful in some cases or modestly successful or had no success. Tell them, listen, I'm here to help you, and I'm going to give you 60 days of my full undivided attention, which means whatever you need, I'm there for it. Okay, within reason, of course. You want to borrow $10,000, probably not. Okay, but you want to get to work. You say, listen, I got one guy at 7 o'clock tonight. I can't talk to this guy tomorrow afternoon. He wants to be talked to at 3 o'clock. I'm at my regular job then. Hey, this is my full-time job. I'll call that guy for you. I'll go through all the details. I'll send him whatever he needs. And of course, he's your guy. He signs up. He's obviously going to be under you. Keith, I know you've recruited some good networkers. Have you used a principle like that?
Absolutely, because look, everybody's busy. It's a friend of ours many years ago made an audio tape, and so that goes back to the point is I hate recruiting, I hate network marketing, but I wouldn't mind getting rich. Okay, and that's working together. It's that building that team. It's that leverage of time and effort, and leveraging both. Because the point that we're doing here is we're helping people leverage their time, leverage their contacts, and doing it in a way that they can set themselves free financially over a general, it's a 2 to 5 year plan. It's not a 2 to 5 weeks or 2 to 5 hours. Some people look at 2 to 5 hours. You've got to learn the skill sets. You've got to learn the art of the invitation or the skill of the invitation. It's a skill because it's transferable. You're going to hear some other great things coming up here with John as to how you communicate with those people is the next step of this. So you've invited them, their friends, their contacts. You met them at the grocery store. The guy that I talked about at the train station, I'd never met him before. I didn't know who he was. We were just standing at the platform waiting for people coming in on a train, on an Amtrak train. Okay, but it struck up that conversation with the stranger. You can do that too, but you have to work on those skill sets, and we're going to get into that next part here, John.
And Keith, how important is that? Okay, just what you said there. So this guy was a total stranger. He approached you. Here you are, 30 plus years later. You've had very successful downlines and organizations, made a lot of income from this type of business, right? And you've never given up your ranching interests and your other business interests at the same time. This has been a perfect plan B in your case. But it goes back to something. One of the people that I interviewed, a lady named Lindsay Bobolt. She lives up in Omaha, and she's the lady who I interviewed her about 2 months ago. Real nice lady. And she mentioned the fact that a person approached her shortly after she had actually contemplated suicide. She was on the highway. She actually contemplated suicide, right? Was at her wit's end with some things that had occurred in her personal life. And the very next day, somebody talked to her about an opportunity. And what she needed at that point in her life was an opportunity, not just financially. She needed the distraction from some very serious things that had occurred in her family. That I won't, you can listen to the interview and listen to her story if you want. But that's how serious it is. We don't know who we're talking to, how we can change your life. And that leads me to my last point on the invitation.
If I could, John, before you move on to the next part, is that's powerful, because you want to think about this. You're saying, well, so-and-so wouldn't be interested. Okay, well, they wouldn't be interested in network marketing. They wouldn't be interested in making some additional income. They wouldn't be interested in sharing this product with their family and friends. You don't know where they are. And you don't know. I mean, the number one thing that people are looking for today is a way to make a difference. And it doesn't matter if they're in their 20s or they're in their 70s, okay, or 80s or so on, okay? People want to make a difference. And in network marketing, they have that ability. Think about it. You're talking to somebody, maybe that person's a college professor, okay, but they retired. Okay, well, they're used to teaching and transferring knowledge to people to make a difference, and now they don't have that anymore. Well, network marketing affords them the ability to be able to share information, make a difference, and earn some additional income as well, John.
Well, which is perfect, because to that point, okay, and to the point about Lindsay, for example, with her story, the other invitation is what I call the belief one. Now, the belief one may not work well with a stranger on train tracks like that, okay? But Tommy Houston, when he invited me to look at the company that we looked at some 39 years ago, this coming April, I can't believe it's been that long, Keith. But when Tommy did it, his belief was so strong in what he was doing, I didn't have to hear his words. He was so strong in telling me about, Mark Hughes. He was so strong about telling me about Larry Thompson. He was so strong about telling me about these products that he had found. He was so strong about his belief, meant I didn't really have to listen to all the detail, because I saw Tommy was legitimately excited about what he was doing. Okay. Ask yourself, what's your story? Okay. What's your belief in what you're doing? Okay. If you really believe in your product, tell somebody about it. Now, don't make crazy claims. Don't make claims that the FDA is going to knock on your door or do anything irrational like that. But certainly share with people what the product's done for you, whatever that product happens to be. Okay. We're all in companies that we've got a product that we believe in, or we shouldn't be there. Frankly, if you don't believe in your product, well, you can't fake it for very long. Realistically, people will figure you out. Therefore, find a product you actually believe in. Okay. Now, that does not mean that you have to have the results that everybody else gets. I started on the product that I sell when I was 35. I did not have the results that my then 69-year-old mother had. Our health was totally different. All right. However, I saw what was happening with her. I saw what was happening with others. I knew I felt good on this particular product. I did not have some kind of a dramatic result with it, but I knew it worked because I saw other people whose health wasn't necessarily good getting results. That built my belief. That's what I'm talking about, the belief one. Share your story with people. Feel free to tell people, hey, let me tell you something. We all need to clean up our health. America, I don't want to get off on politics here or anything else here, but I believe America is the greatest country in the world. Okay, and that doesn't mean if you don't live in America, your country's not great. Canada's great, England's great, a lot of great countries in the world. But the United States is great because we have a lot of choice. We've always had a lot of choice. Find that thing that you believe in, that you're passionate about, that you're willing to share with people, because that's where the invitation doesn't really matter. You could almost go up to them and say nothing, but they're going to tell from your face, hold up your product, and they're going to go, okay, I want what he wants. I want what she's on. Okay, because they're going to get that excited. It's like that movie, Keith. What was that movie with Meg Ryan? And I think Tom Hanks was in it many, many years ago, right? And they're sitting in a restaurant, and the woman at the next table, because she was, Meg Ryan was making a noise. Was that what it was?
Where she's sitting in there, and the one woman says, I'll have what she's having.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what we're talking about. All right. Like I'm saying, you could tell somebody is legitimately excited
when Harry met
Sally.
You need to go look at that, because that's what you call enthusiasm. Exactly. Okay. And the point that you're talking about here, John, is that you can't fake that. You have to believe in your company. You have to believe in the product, and you have to believe in the management. And if you don't, okay, the invitation is going to be hard to come across because you're going to have a crack in your presentation. So, get real solid in your belief in those with your company. It's very, very important, John.
So let's move on, Keith. Many years ago, one of the mentors, and I've had many, many mentors in my life in different categories. I know you have too, but one of them was a gentleman by the name of Joe Gandolfo. And I only met Joe once very briefly, but Joe was the top insurance salesman in the world. First person in the history of the insurance industry. Think how long the insurance industry has been out there. First person in history that could document $1 billion in sales in 1 year. He was pretty good at what he did. Lived down in Lakeland, Florida. Anyway, Joe wrote many different books. And I spent a short time in the insurance industry, which is how I got exposed to Joe. And I love Joe's writing because it was so basic and it made so much sense. But Joe Gandolfo had a book called Selling is 98% understanding human beings and 2% product knowledge. Now, that kind of refutes what we just said about the belief. Let that be the 2%. Either your story or other people's stories with your product that they see you're enthusiastic and believe in. And the other 98% is understanding human beings. And here's what I'm leading up to, Keith. And how to approach them properly. Because we're living, and we're two old guys. I'm 60, and I don't want to say what Keith is, but he's got a couple years on me. We grew up in a time where we used the telephone to communicate if somebody wasn't sitting right in front of us. We had the telephone, and we had the ability to meet somebody at Starbucks or the equivalent, depending on when and where they wanted to meet, or in your living room or their living room. And all those options still exist today. But because of technology, there's a lot of people, especially young people, younger people than Keith and I, including my own son, who I talk to by text more than I talk to him live. And he lives in the same house as me, by the way. Meet people where they are. Every company out there, every good company anyway, has invested in tools. I'm sure your company has good videos. I'm sure your company has good presentations on your product, on your business, how it works, and how to communicate it to somebody. Now, when I say selling is 98% understanding human beings, meet them where they are. In other words, if they are somebody and your relationship with them is over instant messenger, Facebook instant messenger, that is how you communicate with them, both in writing and also what you're going to send them, your 3-minute presentation by video, your 15-minute presentation, whatever you decide based on the conversation, whatever the appropriate thing is, your 10-minute, whatever your company has. Of course, you fit the tool, your company's tools, but meet them where they are. If your relationship with them is over Telegram, WhatsApp, TikTok, or any of the other social medias, if that's how you communicate normally with this person, that's how you need to communicate about your opportunity. If all of a sudden, and our mutual friend Randy Gage, Keith, says something really funny. He says, if you contact somebody under 40 by telephone, they think something's wrong, and they call the police on you. They think something's up, right? You got to meet them where they are. Okay. Now, it's okay for me to call Keith because he still answers his phone. It's okay for him to call me. I still answer my telephone. But for the most part, got to meet people where they are. Otherwise, you might offend them, or they may not even look there. All right? So when it comes down to how you're going to communicate, you have to communicate with them how they want to be communicated with. You may sponsor people, and maybe you already have, and you're sitting there laughing right now saying, I already sponsor people like that all over the internet. Another young lady that I interviewed, Carissa Rogers out of Florida. Carissa's about 40 now. So funny. I've known her since she's a little girl, believe it or not. Her mom was in my downline in a company, a good friend of mine still. And I've known her daughter since she was, 8 or 9 years old. And she's now 40, has her own family. But Carissa only deals on the internet. Carissa very rarely talks on the telephone. All of Carissa's invitations to people, all of her information that goes back and forth when she's recruiting them is over the internet. Like 100% of it. And she's built some very nice downlines and some very nice income over the last decade by doing that. Now, if I called Carissa and I tried to recruit her over the telephone, she wouldn't even take my call. It would go to her voicemail that she may never listen to. Follow? Now, conversely, and here, let this be, words of wisdom from an older guy to the younger folks listening to this. If you're going to recruit an older person, you can use those same technologies, but meet them where they are. If they want that telephone call or they want the Zoom call, like you're looking at this on, by all means, schedule it and schedule it around them. Give them an option. Hey, I'd love to meet you on Zoom today, Keith. Can we meet tonight at 7:00 or would 2:00 tomorrow afternoon work better on your schedule?
Yeah, 2:00 tomorrow afternoon would be great.
Work around their schedule and schedule, once again, something that they're comfortable with. Why? A lot of people are visual. So I can send presentations, obviously. I can send videos. I can send all sorts of information electronically. But somebody that's over 50, let's say, for the most part, they want to be dealt with where, hey, I want to see something. I want to see you. I want to talk to you. I want you to explain to me, okay, I read this compensation thing, or I watched the video on it. It's great, but I don't really understand it. I want to talk to you. So don't feel that you can't get on Zoom, or if they're in your neighborhood, meet them at their home, at your home, at Starbucks, at some mutually convenient place, once again, to communicate. So there's all of these different ways that exist, and it's great and it's wonderful. Meet them where they are, but also be willing to meet people where they're not in your world. I started out not very comfortable with IM and TikTok and WhatsApp and all these other things. I've learned how to use them. I may not be good at it, but I've learned how to use them, Keith. I think you have too.
Well, John, you're making a point. You're talking to people into your business. You're going to have people that love face-to-face. You're going to have people that love to do the phone calls. You're going to have people that hate face, people that hate the phone calls, people that instant messenger, people that hate instant messenger, people that use TikTok, and people that think TikTok is that grandfather clock in the corner that's going TikTok. You're going to meet all of those people. But what's important to understand is there are people successful in your business, in network marketing, using each and every one of those skills that they like. So it doesn't matter how you want to do it. As my friend years ago used to say, ever how you want to build the business, we have a way to do that. And I think in your next week's event, you're going to be covering that even more detail. But the idea is find out where people are at, find out how they want to communicate with them, but transfer the knowledge that when they're sponsoring people and bringing those people into the business and partnering with them, that you need to respect how those people want to communicate. And that's where you'll build an empire, and build an empire by inviting people to find out what we do here in network marketing, John.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do, folks, okay, so today's been on the order of the invitation. We're going to do next week's show, which will be, that's already, I think, December 5th or 6th, whatever a week from Tuesday already is, Keith, on the art of communication, exactly what we're talking about here, because we can do that right now, but I don't want to rush through it. I think we want to go through some of the ways to communicate with language, with the proper texts, with the proper language, so we don't offend people. So we keep things clean and legitimate. And, don't forget, folks, as we end this segment, accurate communication allows progress. And I'd love Keith's reaction to that.
Well, John, because that's what it's about. It's about communicating accurately what you're doing. Look, we have a legitimate business. I share with people oftentimes. They say, well, what do you do? Well, whatever you want to say to that, I'm not going to coach you to that part. Okay, so you decide what you want to say. But here's what I can tell you. In 25 years here with the company that I'm with, I started a company, cost me less than $1,000 to get started. We've done, I don't know, last year, almost well over $150 million in sales last year alone. And I did that with no employees, no product, no shipping, no returns, no credit card, none of those issues that go with that. No theft, okay? And most importantly, no employees, as I said. Okay, if you've got a better business model than that, call me. Okay. And I think that that's part of these invitations, depends on who you're talking to. But all of you have those stories, and all of you have these skill sets and these stories that are within you. Okay. But hone them, to refine them. And that's what you're doing here with Leaving Nothing to Chance. That's the things that you're hearing from John, the things that you're hearing from his guests, is take these stories, take these skills, hone them so you become a master tradesman, okay, with these skills, and you can build yourself an empire, John.
Well, exactly, Keith. And you know what? Don't forget, folks, Christmas is coming. Moving Up 2020, still available. Book Keith and I wrote together on Amazon, a bestseller, by the way. And of course, that's the Spanish version of it. And of course, Leaving Nothing to Chance is based on the book Leave Nothing to Chance. So, you know, holidays are coming. You're all looking for gifts for your downline. Amazon will do the shipping for you. You know, so once again, you know, feel free to purchase the books. You know, we don't make a lot of people think you get rich writing books. I can assure you, you don't. If you're Stephen King, maybe, you know, those guys do, but you don't in network marketing. You write them as a labor of love, just like we do the podcast, because we want you to grow. You know, it's funny, Keith, I think we'll close on this. You know, I don't remember exactly who it was, but I remember I was listening to a very wealthy man one night speak. And he said, you know why we want people to be successful? Because we pay less taxes when other people are successful. We don't have to take the burden all by ourselves. We want you to be successful, not only because we pay less taxes, but because we understand what success is and how important it is for your family. So with that, Keith, thank you for your time. And next week on Communication.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Leave Nothing to Chance. If you want to know more about what it takes to succeed in the network marketing space, join us again next week for another amazing episode. For additional resources and to connect with John Solleder, visit leavingnothingtochance.com. Don't forget to leave a review, and we'll see you next time.